A very good morning to everyone and welcome to the IDA Summit 2021. I'm Gauri Prakash. I'm an architect who recently completed her master's in Italy in architecture and urban design. And today I will be guiding you throughout this engaging event. I hope you are all present in good health and are keeping safe at home. The IDA Summit is an initiative by the Architect's Diary. It aims to bring about a stir in architectural fraternity through insightful engagements with renowned and great minds in the field of architecture and design. Our sponsors for this event are Insulpro and Bromic Heating. We thank them for believing in our vision. You can know more about Insulpro and Bromic Heating from separate rooms directly from our lobby. Our state-of-the-art venue is designed by Manticore Designs. There are a lot of challenges at hand for architects throughout the world, mainly because of the way we are operating during such odd times. Everything is rethought upon and has got in a different paradigm. We need to locate the crux of any challenge to be able to solve it and maybe give an attempt to change certain things in the architectural world. This year's theme for IDA Summit, as you all know, is The Foyer to Future. Is the future in the hands of technological advancements? Where is the sustainability factor going? Are urban cities turning into small village pockets which are well connected? What is the role of an architect in this field? And will there be a need for an architect in, say, 2040? All of these questions and many more are brewing in our minds. And through this event, you will be able to address these questions as well as get a much refined perspective. Through this two-day event, you will be able to attend several speaking sessions, panel discussions, and workshops. Please note a few things about our state-of-the-art venue. You can switch between Auditorium 1 and Auditorium 2 whenever you want. You can download the schedule for both the days from either of the auditoriums. During the last few minutes of any session end, you can send in your questions and we would ask the designer to answer them on your behalf. If you're attending the Rhino Basics workshop, please download the software link which you might find in your registered email ID, and it is not mandatory. Please open the screen on a laptop for best results. You can converse with each other via network launch during the break or otherwise. So we will start with our first speaker today, architect Andrea Andreotti from Ultraconfidentiel. Architect Andrea is an Italian architect and visionary designer based in India with experience in Europe, Asian subcontinent, and UAE in performing workplaces, innovative food and beverage spaces, and flagship retail stores. His main purpose is to transform real estate assets and spaces into strategic tools to empower businesses and enhance new user experiences, mainly focused on business growth of corporate clients through innovative design-driven models. He also has a vast international experience with the top leading MNCs, some of them being Fortune 500 listed. Today, he will be talking about the workplace revolution. How is the workplace changing for a mobility-driven world? The future-proof office in the next 20 years after the pandemic and technology innovation injections. I now hand over the screen to Mr. Andrea to start his presentation.
Hello, good morning. Namaskar. It's a pleasure to be here, and thank you so much for this invite. It's very important in this difficult period, sometime to share and to have the possibility to emit each other in this difficult moment. So I want to start again. Thank you, the organization IIDA Summit, for this opportunity, and also Ultraconfidentiel that is allowing me to be here and share our ideas, our values, and our DNA. I want to start with a very short introduction about myself and about my company and what we are doing in India and the Southeast Asian markets. So I'm Andrea, I'm an architect. I'm an Italian architect based in India for the last 3 years now. I have studied architecture in Italy, had some experience in Italy, in Europe, and now in India. Ultraconfidentiel is a company founded almost 14 years ago now by a French couple, Amaury and Stephanie, and now is managed by Pierre Arnaud is a company focused on the design and build project for a corporate company. At the beginning, European company wanted to come to India, and now we are also dealing with the Indian big company that they want to also implement the workplace and the corporate strategy and the global trend in the Indian market. So Ultraconfidentiel, as I said, is a design and build company specialized in office, retail, and hospitality projects. I want to divide the presentation of Ultraconfidentiel in three main steps: what we are doing, how we are doing, and why we are doing it. So what we are doing, we set design and build project. So we start from the concept for our client, the understanding of their DNA, their business model, how they are working, and what they want to do with the real estate asset. And after we start our we thought 360 design driven process with our client is an interactive process where we try to engage our client and we try to translate our vision and the client vision into design drawings, into design concept to be implemented at site. And also we have the build management department, which is translating our ideas and our vision into proper and physical spaces. I would say this is the main difficult part, because in India, as you know better than me, is a pretty strong and difficult market. So for this reason, we can say this is our core difference from our competitor. I want to say also that the company is a nice blend of different culture, because we are a company that where we can see European guys, European architect, and also Indian architects. So the amazing ideas and creative brainstorming session that we can do in our company is pretty interesting, because we are able to mix the different culture and the different experience of each of our designer and architects. The third main part, in my opinion, that I want to share with you today is why we are doing this as a company, because I believe a lot of architects, a lot of designers are able to say what we are doing and how they are doing it. But why we are doing it is very important, and this is how we are able to make the difference also in our market. And the why for Ultraconfidentiel as a vision, as a company, and also in every project, is the main driver for and the main purpose of our work. We believe that our work must inspire people, must inspire clients, to allow them to a sort of transformation. We are living in an era where the digital transformation and every type of transformation is fast. We are living suspended in a transition, I would say. So inspire the transition and the change and the growth of our client is our main purpose. So we like to say that our main purpose is to inspire people by design. And this is why all our projects have a sort of main story behind. We like to start every project with a story. The storytelling for Ultraconfidentiel is the main, is a very important difference and key milestone in every brainstorming that we do. The storytelling is able, in our opinion, to hit the emotional part and the emotional mindset of our clients and the employee and the final users of the space, to be able also to enhance and behaviors and the performance of the space that we are designing and the people that we are influencing. And why we are doing this is very important also because we are able to understand the value of design in the corporate field. I don't want to be generalistic in this consideration, but the corporate field and the MNC field always is based on data, on statistics, and on processes. And this is why, as a company, as a design company, we believe that we have to introduce the emotional parts in this field through the spatial design. We believe that introducing emotion in this huge machine of the corporate realist companies is able to enhance a different way of working and a different path to explore in terms of increment of performance and increment of this kind of brand community that our client wants to create. And this is why I believe, and we believe as a company, that spatial design is one of the main important tools to create the brand community of a company. Physical space in this period, also after the pandemic, is starting to, as per the client's mindset, is starting to reduce its value in a way. But we believe that is still a strategic asset for our client, the physical space, because it's able to create the right environment to be creative, to be collaborative. And as we say in Italy, the best ideas come during an happy hour. So the trend that we are seeing for the future, I would say, is transforming more and more the enclosed space that we have designed for the last 20 years into a more open and seamless scenario integrated with the city, where people can feel outside. I have introduced also a nice motto inspired also by Björk Ingels, out is more, because we have to, in a way, we have to create spaces that more and more are able to make people feel outside, also after this pandemic scenario. But coming back to the storytelling and to the importance of the why that we are giving in our project, I believe that the concept and the storytelling that we are able to create in every project is also making the final users of the space engage in a different way with the space and with the company itself, creating a nice space, an engaging space, not based only of the performance of the workstation, but based on the performance of the collaboration. I think will be the new trend. In fact, we had a nice interaction with a huge company a few weeks ago, and we were discussing about the future of offices. And this client was asking us, how do you see the future of office in the next year? Because all our revenue model is based on the revenue per workstation. But now that we are living in this difficult period of the pandemic, where the spaces and the offices are completely empty, how we can adjust this business model for our company. So we suggest, in a way, to change the approach. Also, seeing after also our research that we have done internally, how we can change this business model to adapt in a more resilient way to the scenario that is forecasting in front of our eyes. And for this reason, we propose to the client to change the revenue model into the revenue per meeting. So I believe also when we will speak later about the workplace revolution, you will see that the revenue per meeting it will be a plausible scenario for the corporate real estate asset, where the performance of a company is not anymore based on the individual and static work, but probably on the level of interaction that we will have with our colleague and with all the users of the space. And also because before starting the main topic about the workplace revolution, I want to also give you a little bit of background about our target of customer and with whom we are speaking with, because office design and workplace design is not anymore like 10 years ago. The final client has changed, and also the final user has changed. We are living in a period where the millennials and the Z generation have completely changed the way the user is living the space, and what are actually the expectation of the user in a space. While 10 years ago, probably the user was not a technology native. Right now, the expectation of all the employee and all the user are based on the technology performance also of the space. People are expecting interactive space. People are expecting that technology is everywhere. And so the physical space needs to solve this gap between the interaction of the digital world and the physical world, where the architecture, in fact, I did one article 1 year ago about the way the architecture is so slow if we compare the architecture to the normal and to the rest of the field, where the technology is running so fast and the architecture process and the architecture itself is something perpetual and so slow. So how we are able to solve this gap? And yes, and for this reason, almost 1 year and a half ago, right now, the time is running so fast. When this dramatic scenario happened to us, the COVID-19 pandemic, as a company, we were a little bit scared because, in a way, this pandemic scenario impacted a lot our core business in terms of perspective. The office 1 year ago was one of the first spaces that has been shut down. In Italy right now, they are opening slowly. In India, I hope in the next day the situation will be better. But the workplace asset has been impacted a lot for all the company. This is why all the top management of the company wanted and started to say, "Oh no, we have to reduce the space. We have to remove the physical real estate asset from our portfolio because it's not anymore a direction that we can take. The risk is too high, more in this pandemic scenario." And for this reason, all our customers started to ask us in a way, to rethink their headquarters and their offices, reducing the space. But it's not the right direction, because after 1 year, things are changing, and the clients are asking us something different. And I tell you why. 1 year ago, when this pandemic started, Ultraconfidentiel decided to open immediately a task force, an R&D department, fully dedicated on the analysis of this trend and this evolution that we were living, and we are still living. And so we decided to dedicate a team of 6 people, full time, trying to understand and trying to study how the workplace is changing, but not because of the pandemic, but how is changing in a more long-term view. The organic and natural evolution of the workplace, because it's true that the pandemic has changed the workplace asset, but has accelerated the transition, has not changed completely the way we are designing the offices. And this is why, as a company, we thought we don't have to focus on today, because creating a plexiglass partition between the workstation, creating boundaries between the social interaction of people was not the right way. So we thought, why not trying to understand deeply the beginning and how has changed the office in the last 1,500 years, to understand the real DNA and the real organic and natural transformation that the office is living. And so during this R&D department, we worked fully on this special project, and we have been very happy to publish our first e-paper last July, which is available to download from our website, and is an amazing story, in my opinion, exploring the different evolution of offices, how the office has changed from the Taylorist office in the 18th century to the more contemporary smart working and WeWork typology of office of today. And our question was, what's next? What will happen in the next phase? And we tried also to understand the as I said before, due to this generation change, the needs and the expectation of the employee. Employees are expecting technologies, are expecting a fully automated workplace, and also employees are expecting to work in office, because seems that employees like to work from home, but it's not true. It's not true, because after a research, a very huge research done in US, seems that only the 12% of employees wants to work from home. So this is why, and I want to say, we are social animals, so it's in our DNA to meet each other and to be able to collaborate and share ideas into a space which is in a way representing the DNA of the brand community, of the company community. And also we saw that why the top manager of all the company wanted, when this pandemic happened, wanted to change drastically the work, the real estate asset of their portfolio, because actually the workplace before the pandemic were not so performing. To be honest, we were seeing in all our client portfolio, and we have studied the performance of the real estate asset of our client portfolio, and we saw that actually the space was not working at all as per their business model. The workstation were unoccupied for more than 30% of the time. The meeting room areas were unoccupied by more than 60% of the time. So we thought something has to be changed. Well, we cannot continue to propose to our clients something that is not working before the pandemic and more after the pandemic, when where social distancing, all the hybrid model of working is coming, has been introduced in our life. So we cannot take care about these issues and this problem. And also, as I said, the different model of and way of working that has been introduced and accelerated during this pandemic. All the hybrid model of working, like work from home, work from anywhere. This is changing completely the purpose of the office space. If, as I said before, if we saw before the pandemic the office as a sort of factory where employees were sitting in their individual workstation and producing work all the time, 8 hours per day in an individual way and sometime in a meeting. Now, with the strong introduction, with the smart working policy, work from anywhere, work from home, we saw that actually the individual work can be done from anywhere. So why we still need, for example, workstation in office? Why we still need the individual space to work in the office? But on the same time, we don't have to remove completely the office, because we have to give to the company the possibility to meet between the employee and to share ideas. And this is why we saw that the main purpose of offices actually is changing. We saw that the transition between an individual factory space towards a public space is more and more evident after this pandemic. Out is more is coming very strongly, and also we feel also that the main identity of the workplace designer actually is changing. We are discussing every day within my team also about this. It's very funny how the designer has changed in the last year. What we are doing as a designer has been changed. Before we were discussing probably about most of the time about the minimum existing space between workstations, circulation space, the dimension of the workstation for the individual workers. Right now, the level of the discussion has completely changed. Right now, we are considering ourselves more as a landscape designer rather than a workplace designer, because the space now is a public space where we have to integrate nature, where we have to integrate collab space, social space, cafe, wellness area. So is more close to a city planner rather than an interior designer. Our work as of today, and for this reason, we saw this kind of change of paradigm of our work and our product, the workplace design, and I want to divide this workplace revolution change into 3 words, I would say. These 3 words are mobility, sustainability, and decentralization. I would say these are the 3 main words that we have identified as a company as the key driver for the workplace revolution transition. And I will try to cover all these 3 words in detail to give you a better understanding about how actually it's changing the workplace. Mobility, because since we are speaking of a public space, out is more a space where people can meet, we have to change also the consideration that we are of the office. As I said, office is not anymore an enclosed space where we are going to work, but is an open space where we are going to meet. So business model will be based on probably on revenue per meeting. So for this reason, the main backbone of the office will be the mobility. How the space will allow the mobility inside the space, the connection between inside and outside. Space will be more and more a seamless scenario with the city itself. And I was very fascinated 2 years ago. I went to Bangkok actually, and I saw how the public mobility infrastructure, for example, the metro on all the skywalk in the city center, have been completely connected in a seamless way with the final destination, as malls, as shop, as public space. So there is no boundary. It's a complete seamless scenario between roads, pathways and the final destination. And this is how I'm imagining the offices for the future. A complete seamless scenario with the city, where I can enter and exit, meet people, share ideas, share document, have a coffee, have a quick section of gym, have an app, and go out. So a complete different scenario where we are transforming a static asset into a dynamic asset, augmented asset that can be changed, that can be transformed in a very interactive way. We are imagining as Ultraconfidentiel an office more and more as a digital platform where people and company are able to meet, share ideas, and produce new ideas as well. We have also proposed in our workplace revolution document a sort of vision for the office 2030, in 20 years, where the office is and the architecture itself is not anymore a static asset, where partition and furniture completely adaptable, movable, interactive, with all the software, maybe the management software or the ERP software that the company is dealing with. Imagine that tomorrow I have a meeting set in my calendar at 5 p.m. and automatically the office architecture is adapting itself for this meeting. After half an hour, the meeting is closed and automatically the architecture is changing its scenario. So this is already happening with probably the light, with the HVAC system. But if we think this with the proper architecture itself, it will be an interesting and exciting scenario. The last things about the mobility, I want to say that this is not a futuristic scenario. This is not a non-probable scenario, because we are already introducing it in our project. Movable, adaptable, and flexible furniture is the today trends, I would say, and also the complete reduction and I would say elimination of the individual work is already something that all the top management of the best company are thinking. For example, we are designing right now a new office for a huge multinational French company, where we are removing completely the individual workstation for 300 employees. So the space will not have any more individual workstation, but only collaborative, social, hot desk, and private space, but in a more informal way for all the employees. So this is not an impossible scenario, but is coming slowly, but is coming in a pretty evident way in all our projects and in our day-to-day design process. The second word is sustainability. So sustainability is a very difficult word, because it's very difficult today. I mean, it's a word that is in the mouth of everyone, but it's very difficult to be sustainable, actually. And the sustainability also has changed, in my opinion, after this pandemic, the real meaning. Before the pandemic, I feel sustainability was mostly dedicated to, in our sector, I would say, to the way we are going to propose and select materials and technology in the space to make the space more efficient in an energy way or in a life cycle assessment way. I would say right now the sustainability approach is starting to increase its umbrella in a way. We have to see the sustainability field more on a planet, on a macro scenario, and this we are discussing also today in our R&D department about this scenario, where the sustainability is not anymore based on the performance of the single building, but the interaction between the different building and the interaction with the entire planet system, I would say. So selecting an efficient technology, maybe on a punctual way, is not anymore sustainable if we see this on a global scale or on a country scale, for example. And just to give you an example, for example, in India, we have done a lot of well and LEED certification in our project, but sometimes to achieve this well and LEED certification means that we cannot be sustainable, because we have to import technology from abroad, we have to import solution from abroad, from outside the country, and this by meaning is not sustainable. So this is why sustainability also more and more is changing its main meaning. And I feel as a workplace designer, sustainability will be more and more considered as an ecosystem with the office and with the city. For example, imagine we are thinking about an office which is part of a bigger portfolio for a real estate company. If this office is not performing properly in terms of energy efficiency, can be helped in a way by the other office, maybe in another city, which is performing better. So the planet balance or the macro balance will be averagely better. So this is why we are exploring this direction, how to make the system between the different office and different workplace portfolio assets for the company, how to make the entire system sustainable and not only the punctual space and the punctual asset with some maybe innovative technology. And what is the problem of this? That is expensive right now. So one of the main challenges that we are facing with our client and is in all the discussion is the problem of the price. Of course, if we see the price on a short-term view is a problem, because also when we are speaking about sustainability and all the rest is we cannot consider this investment in a long-term view. But when we see this investment in a long-term view is different. It's different because also the way, for example, we are selecting the material, the furniture, and the technology is impacting the overall budget of our project. And for this reason, we have to explain and we have to justify also this choice, in my opinion, for our client in a more macro scale, because probably for a single scale, for a single investment for big multinational company is not anymore sustainable on economical point of view. But if we see this as a system, as a macro system on a global scale, on a country scale, probably this will be we will be able to absorb this investment in a better way. And to conclude, also I want to speak about the last point, that is decentralization, and which is connected about the first point and the second point. Making the system sustainable and making a building or an office completely integrated with the city. After this pandemic, I see we have to speak also about decentralization, because probably this will be the trend of the future. We have seen in the last years, company wanted to reduce probably the expenses and the cost of their real estate asset, merging the different office in the country or in the city into one big corporate headquarter. I feel this scenario is still functional, but seeing what happened also during this pandemic probably is going to change, because in a way, coming back to the decentralization and giving to the office the right size, the right human scale, perfectly integrated with the neighborhood, with the city, with the small villages, it will be more and more part of this ecosystem and sustainable planet that we are that we want to see in the future. The decentralization of office, completely integrated with also the decentralization of the sustainability. I feel probably it will be a plausible trend for the future. So I feel that the role of designer in a way is changing. We are seeing the decentralization coming in our life from different fields. We have seen the introduction of the blockchain technology in our life from the last years in a very strong way. So the mindset of the millennials and the Z generation about the decentralization is already ready, I would say. It's just a matter of time, and if you are able to, and our role as a designer, as I was saying, to create this kind of design path to allow the architecture to be decentralized and perfectly integrated with the entire ecosystem, I think will be our main role and our main purpose of the future. I saw a lot of time people considering offices as a complete separate space from the rest of the city or the rest of their life. I believe office is a complete integrated part of our personal life. We are spending more than 90% of our life closed in indoor spaces, and most of the time in office. Before the pandemic, of course, and we will come back for sure for this scenario. So why not making this space more integrated, more decentralized, and more sustainable? This is what I wanted to share with you today. A little bit of what we are doing in Ultraconfidentiel company, and I'm very happy and open to answer to any question, if any, and thank you so much. You are not audible.
Thank you so much, Architect Andrea. I think it was a very insightful talk about workplace revolution. There are some questions from the audience, and we would like to ask them. There is one question which says, post-pandemic, we see a lot of emphasis on outdoor spaces. How do you say that corporate is adapting to this idea? Offices have usually centrally air-conditioned boardrooms, cubicles, and cafeterias. Do you see that changing? And what will we do to ensure that these spaces deal with adversities that come with an open space, such as heat, cold, dust, etc.?
Okay, thank you. So actually, this is a very good question because it's perfectly aligned with what I said as of now. I mean, this transition towards an office which is more and more related with the city, and which is more and more considered as an open space will be the trend of the future. And this is why when we plan an office today, we have to consider cafeteria, informal meeting areas as part of this entire open space. Majorly in India, I would say, because in Europe it's quite different. But majorly in India, for example, the cafeteria has been considered so far as a separate space from the rest of the office. Also because of the typology of food that maybe in India is different from the Europe culture. But our main role as a designer is to allow this transition and help the Indian client mostly to make the cafeteria space more and more part of the proper office space, because the value of the real estate area of the cafeteria is very high. And if we are building an office in Mumbai, for example, we cannot dedicate a very big area for the cafeteria only for 2 hours per day. This is not performing, and it's not a so this is why we have to consider the cafeteria as part of the open space, with the right level of privacy, with the right level of acoustic and smell insulation, and so on. But yes, in terms of HVAC and technology system, yes, I mean, is a very important topic that I will say is one of the main important topics that the client are asking to us, because when we speak about open space, when we speak about space in a multi-level, for example, we are designing an amazing space in 4 level floor with an open with an open ceiling, and the importance of the HVAC is evident, is very important. So we have to also introduce a new way to design HVAC. So for this reason, also as a designer, we are also taking care about the design of HVAC to make the cooling more democratic in a way. To design the HVAC system in a way that all the employee and all the user are feeling the same temperature, the same humidity, and so on. So this is our main role as a designer in the office.
Okay, thank you so much for this answer. I think it was a very good answer. And it was lovely having you here. I think this is one question which we wanted to ask. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Have a good day.